Hi everyone, Emma here. So I am back with the stretch bracelet idea, and this time I actually I fixed this one here, and surprisingly, so if you've watched the other video, you'll have seen that at the end I went to put the bracelet on, and it looked like the stretch cord broke, but actually it didn't break. What happened was the stretch cord got through the gap on the link. So let me show you that for a sec here. So you can see, even though I had squeezed it as much as I could, there was still a slight gap in it, and the stretch cord got through. So the stretch cord is really good. It stayed. Now let me bring this down a bit so you can see it over. So what I did was I attached a closed jump ring to that link. So the jump ring won't go through this gap. And then I put the cord through here. So I'm going to show you exactly what I did. I feel like this is the way to go. I did do some research last night on YouTube, and I found a bunch of really good videos showing how to attach a connector. So I figured this is basically the same thing as a connector, so it would work. So let me show you. I'll put this one aside. So now we're going to do the one for me. Let me show you what I have here. Let's take it down. Bring this in a bit. So this is the pink one for me. The other thing that I was off was how many beads, 10 millimeter beads. So what I did was I measured, my wrist is a 5 3/4. I think I ended up with about it ended up being just short of 7 inches. And the reason being, when you have thick beads, the inner circumference of your bracelet is the measurement you're looking for. So when you lay it flat, it's actually longer than your actual wrist circumference. So just remember that the bigger you go in beads, you want to, if you can't figure out how much to add, at least maybe purchase a mandrel, or if you have a jar or a water bottle or something like that, measure it against your wrist with a string, and if it measures the same, maybe hang on to that, have it on your desk, and use that as your measurement. But these, you can get these mandrels on Amazon for super cheap. I think I may have paid about $20 for this one. I use it all the time, so it's definitely worth it. I think it had measurements on here, but they were fading, so I went ahead and put my own measurements. I also measured it with a string to make sure that the measurements were correct, because you can buy some of these that they're not correct, so just be aware of that as well. And this one like goes from 5 inches to 9 inches. So you also might want to do a conversion of your centimeters if you're using centimeters. So I ended up with just under 7 inches. So what I did was I figured you want more pearls than you want the front, because you want the front to sit right at the front of your wrist. So, and you want to be able to see some of the pearls too. So you kind of want the pearls on the side. If you want it all the way and just some pearls at the back, that's fine too. But I kind of want you to be able to see the pearls as well as the chain. So you can also go shorter than that area. You could make it super short and only put a few charms. But I wanted to, you can imagine, I'm like, put more in. So I wanted to put a bunch of charms. So what I did was I took a 3-inch chain and then 4 inches on the pearls. And that's what it gave me. Having said that, we're going to measure each time. So let me say, this chain is different than the other chain. This chain, the connections, you can barely find them, which also means that it's going to be harder for the stretch cord to get through. So let me, like this is almost, I think it's because it has a finish on it. So I think there's a link there, but you can barely see it. So there's no way that stretch cord is going to get through. Let me check the other side. You can kind of see a little line there. So if you have to open it up, you can open it up. But I think it's like that because of the finish on it. So we're not going to add the jump ring to this. But we are going to use the same technique for the threading of the pearls. And I'll show you what that is. So it will be the same as if you had a jump ring, a closed jump ring on the end. So let me get this back in focus. Okay, so now here was the other question I had about color choices. I kind of wanted to use the pink stretch cord, but let's take a look at what the pink stretch cord looks like on the chain. Now this chain is a very light gold. So this is what it's going to look like when it's on. So you will see that pink. But you know what? It's up against the pink pearl, so it might not, you might not care. Actually, I think it kind of looks nice. Because otherwise, let's take a look at the gold. I have some leftover strands. I used way too much when I was redoing the bracelet last night. And I have to say, so I was questioning whether to post that video last night. I was so annoyed when that happened. But throughout the video, I was struggling, and I think that was just being tired. So I thought, you know what? During this time of recovery from my radiation, what I'm going to do is try and do my videos in the morning. So here's the yellow. You can really see the yellow anyway. So if I had gold pearls, you might not see that little piece of yellow as much. And actually, you can't see it when you do this. But I think the pink looks kind of nice. And we like playing with colors. So let's do it. Let's live wild. So like I said, I used last night when I restrung this bracelet. So the idea is you're going to create like a slip knot. You're going to create a slip knot here and bring your two cords through all your beads. And then you're going to attach it at the back and put a knot. So I don't know if you can see the knot in here. You can see some of the string here. There's the knot. So you can cover it that way, but I think it would have easily gone in. These holes are quite big. So it easily would have gone in. So you don't have to add this little embellishment. I could have just left one and it would have looked the same as the rest. But I was I was struggling last night. I'm like, You can imagine the stuff that goes wrong when I'm doing these videos. I'm like, oh my gosh. And part of it is because I just turn the camera on and I start going. So if I'm organized where I have stuff like this, that's like a positive, but a lot of times I'm not. And, you know, sometimes I feel a bit bad that you guys are sitting there. That's why I kind of get into the, you know, telling stories while you're waiting for me to get my bleep together. So, but you know what? We're just here to have fun. And if it's not what you're looking for, there's so much stuff on YouTube. I'm sure you'll find what makes you happy. So this is the lovely pink. So I just cut 2 strands. So basically what I did was I'm looking at this length here and I just cut a double strand. Because you have to remember, you don't need to cover the amount here. So you're basically covering 4 inches of pearls on each strand and you're doubling it. And then have a bit for your knots. So I might have to bring this down because I think this is too high. My camera's tilted. Let me just do this, and I'll move my camera down a bit so you guys can see. Let me put these guys aside for now. So take your, and let me get my needle. It's somewhere here. So the other issue that I had was this needle. So this needle, I mentioned before, I found these on AliExpress, and I use them all the time for bead weaving. They are super fine, but you know what? The finer the needle is, this spot here where my nail is, it's kind of sharp. So when you pull your stretch cord through tight beads, it will cut it. So just be aware of that. Maybe some of the thicker, bulkier beads would work. So let's start by attaching this to the last link of the chain. So bring it through like that till you get to that part, and then put it through this hole. Then continue to pull, and that's what you get. Then you have 2 strands on your chain. And if you're using a jump ring, a closed jump ring, it's on your jump ring. And that's that. So now we're going to string on our pearls. So we're going to put our needle on for that. And what I did was I added a little extra of, or a lot extra of the stretch cord. And I did that, so I'm going to leave this around the bottom. So if this stretch cord gets cut, then I can go further down and not worry that it's going to get into my cord. So I might move it down a bit so it doesn't come out, and just hang on to that. So I have these lovely bead caps. They are a really light gold. They almost have a rose color to them. So we're going to use those around our pearls. And what I did was I divided my pearls, because we're going to do a strand of this on each side of the chain and then tied in a knot in the middle. So you only need 5 on each for my size. You'll have to measure what you need for yours. So another those. That looks pretty. Now, I was going to put a spacer bead there, but that was one of the issues I had with this, was getting the cord through an 11/0 bead. But let's see how this looks side by side. If it needs something, we may add something. So pull your bead through, and then once you get it to that point, hang on to your stretch cord and pull it down. Because, oh my God, this looks amazing. Look at that. It really goes with the chain. That's pretty. Okay, so keep going. So another bead cap and a pearl and a bead cap. And bring that down. Pinch your stretch cord. And so that's what it looks like. I think it's fine just like that, without the spacer bead. That's lovely. I don't know what I'm seeing, but I was like totally missed the needle. Spacer. Like that. Oh, this is looking lovely. Let me just move this up a bit so it's not in the way of the camera, so you can see how it's coming along. Oh, it's looking amazing. Wow. This is looking like so much more elegant than what you would think. Now, I'm just noticing the stretch cord is not staying in place, but that's fine. Once we get some tension on that, the rest of the beads, it will stay in place. That's amazing. Okay. It's a very pretty pink. It's my color. I'm still amazed at how much I love pink. When I was a kid and a teenager, I was so into like earth tones, and I was telling my wife, when I was a kid, they would ask, "What's your favorite color?" And I would say, "Green is my favorite color because it's the color of grass and trees and the environment and the beautiful earth." And she's like, "You're such a teacher's pet." I'm like, "Yeah." I still love green. Shh, don't tell her. I have to tell you guys something really funny. So I, I've been doing some. Okay, so that's the last one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So let's put a bead stopper on this one, and we'll do the other side. And I'll tell you my funny story. I don't know if I want to tell you my secrets. Okay, so we grab the second piece, and let's get it so that it's even. The ends are even. Like that. And get the loop there. Now take the other piece of chain. You can pop the loop in there, but it's probably easier to put these two strands through and then go through the loop. I should show you a little better than that so you know what I'm talking about. So you bring your loop. There's your loop. You can see how it's going through the chain, and then you can, either way is fine. You can come up through it or down. Let's go up so you can see what I'm doing, and then grab the end and pull like that. So let's move this to this side here. So my wife and I were joking about like my YouTube channel and different things like friend mail and stuff like that. Oh no, I know what it was. We were talking about the YouTube channel. She said, "I have a video idea for you, Emma." I'm like, "Oh." Her ideas are not very good. I become very diplomatic when she starts telling me ideas she has for my channel. I'm like, I don't know if they'll find that very funny. So anyway, she said, you should do a top 10 of Emma's beading channel. And she goes, you should start it with concealing your orders as friend mail. I'm like, what? She totally busted me. So I got a few orders. And I could tell by the way she's like, what are you getting now? Okay, covered up. I'm like, oh, it's just friend mail. It's not my fault. Oh my gosh. The funny part to that is I spend my own money. We have our separate money. We share all the accounts for the house. So anything to do with the house and the cars, we share, and food and stuff like that. But then when it comes to our finances, this cat here, our finances, it's separate. And since we haven't been traveling with COVID and illnesses, we have a lot of disposable income. So I'm like, I want something, I'm going to get it. So, yeah, funny story. Friend mail is code for Emma's been spending money again on Amazon or AliExpress. So funny. She goes to order a phone on Amazon, and normally when she wants something, she'll ask me to put it on my account. And because there was a $20 coupon and she wants me to get the same phone, she said, I guess I should put it through opening an account with Amazon. I said, yeah, that's a good idea. She goes to open an account. It says an account already exists, and when she checked the shipping address, it had a shipping address to some place in the States, and it was her ex-girlfriend. I'm like, oh, who's that you were sending stuff to? So that's the second side. This is looking amazing. Let me enlarge it so you can see. Oops. Okay, this stretch cord got flipped on the other. There we go. It just did the same thing. You could probably put a knot in there to stop that from doing it, but once we get this tied up. So that is amazing. Okay, so let's tie it. So you can see I added a lot of stretch cord, and this time I didn't add as much. So I'm going to take my needle off and take the bead stopper off, and that is what you have. So I had put out 2 bead caps. I have one that's a frosted rose gold, but it looks silver now. And then I have an actual rose gold one that I was going to cover the knot with. But you know what? These are so big, these pearls, the holes, that I think the knot will go right inside that. So I don't think we need it. But you know what? I should measure this. So if you don't have a mandrel and at this point you want to measure what you have, pinch it close to the end and then twist it a few times. And then just slide your hand in there. So I kind of wanted mine a bit loose, so you can see it is loose, but that's fine. So you can adjust it accordingly. So now you're just gonna take one over the other like that and bring it under. There's your first knot, like that. And we're gonna make sure the bottom pieces are in the right spot. Okay, so that is pretty secure. You can tighten that as much as you want. I feel like these are just at the right tightness. So now, this is a little tricky, this part. So I'm just gonna grab that and I'm gonna put my finger on that knot like that. And then I'm gonna try. Now this stuff, there's like a thread here that's kind of hooking onto the other stuff. Not a big deal. So now you're gonna create a knot, another knot here. Let's see if I can get that piece off. Okay, so bring that around and through the hole. If you're having trouble, just get some help. Okay, so when you tighten this one, do it quickly before you release your finger. Like that. And tight. And what I do is I hang on to these 2 pieces and I pull this one. Because if your knot is not secure, it will loosen. So this is a good way to check where it's at. And that is not going anywhere. If you're concerned, you could do another knot. You see, I don't know that it's necessary, but let's do another knot just to be safe. I think there's enough room for this knot to go in. Just making sure. Yeah, that looks good. Okay, so now Again, I don't feel you need to put glue on this, but we're going to do it just after last night. I want to make sure everything's tickety-boo. Oh, this. You know, I have to say, the GS Hypo used to have a thread on this part here, and the glue never came out. Now that they got away with the, so I'm just putting one drop and then get this back in here. But now that they don't have a thread to twist your cap on, I find it leaks out all the time. I should send them a message. Fix your. We don't like change. So now I'm going to clip these. They're relatively short. It's actually like you don't have to cut it super short because they are going to lay flat. They'll slide into the bead anyway. So let's go to about here. And you can let that glue dry, but I'm not too concerned. So what I'm going to do is see if I can get the bead over that, and then it could dry in the bead. Get this over, and then, so to get the bead, it to go into the bead, hang on to this end of the thread and just pull it there, and that's your because it's two-sided, you know what that did is it made this one loose and this one tight. So just see how that's loose. See if I can adjust it a bit. There, look, that looks good just like that. But we're gonna add some stuff. So let's take a look what we have here. So let's do this way. Get the chain sitting a certain way. Okay. So on the other one, I used 7-inch 18 gauge. Now these pendants were a lot bigger and chunkier, so I felt like the big jump ring suited it. For this one, the chain is nice and slim, and the pieces are a little more delicate, so I think we should go with, I had this in a certain order here. Yeah, okay, like that. So I have the ribbon in the middle, and just so you know, when you're adding things, if it matters to you, if you have something that has like a head, always point the head towards the middle. So the ribbon being the middle, then the head would turn that way. You could put it that way, but you see how it looks like it's looking away and it's not part of it. So that's the idea. Then it becomes a cohesive piece. And then the Swarovski heart, and let's put our pinch bail on. So these are lovely pinch bails. I got these at AliExpress. There was like, I think 100 of them for a few dollars. They're so beautiful. Just get that in there. And these are so simple, you can squeeze them like that. Beautiful. Okay. So I always go from the middle to the end. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 links. So we're going to be off on the middle. 1, 2, 3, 4, there's 5. So I think we're going to put it on this one here. So let's get our tools. And open our jump rings. here. And put it on. My hand's in the way. There. This I feel like needs more light. There's the opening and there. Oh, so you could do just that and maybe put some crystal dangles if you want. That's lovely. Okay, next one. Take another 6-inch jump ring. And we'll put the birdie on. So I'm trying to decide whether to put them right side by side. Yeah, I think we'll skip one for each. Okay, and then so always twist it together. Make sure it's connected. There. That looks lovely. And then we'll put the heart on the last one, I think. Put that on there. And on the last link, close that up. My wife's gone grocery shopping. She doesn't even ask me anymore. She's like, I'm going shopping. What do you need? I am becoming a true princess, but she doesn't want me to be exposed. Oh my gosh, this is looking amazing. Look at my Hello Kitty. I had to have my Hello Kitty in there. I can't believe that I'm going cuckoo over Hello Kitty. Oh, I hear car door. I'm tempted to close my office door. I kind of knew that she would be back before I'd be finished. Sometimes she comes upstairs and she's like, hey, whatever, and she starts talking. Sometimes she grew up in a coal mining town. So you can imagine the language that comes, the way I say that, the language that comes out of you. She's like, oh, really? You grew up in Toronto, in the big city. I know about the language you use. She has a joke. She does lectures at the university, and she has a joke when she introduced. Hi, honey. She says, just a sec, honey. I'm almost done the video. And the flower. And then we'll put the link on this one. She says, what's the toughest guy from Cape Breton? It's a woman from New Waterford. So New Waterford was like the coal mining town. And she goes, and I'm from New Waterford. All the students, there's like 500 students, all the students start laughing. A lot of them are from Cape Breton, which is where New Waterford is. So there's this beautiful bracelet. You can stretch it, it's not going to break, come off. And there it is on my, I have it upside down. That's what I did the last time and it broke. If you watch the video. So the one thing I didn't do, and you should probably do, and I just noticed it feels a bit loose, is pre-stretch your cord. And I'm just going to flip this. There we go. So there is this lovely bracelet. So I think because I have, oh, I separated it by 3. I think I might open this up and shorten the links. I feel it's a bit too long for me. And this way, these guys will be all close together. This one's a little far from that one. So, but there you go. There is this lovely bracelet. Thanks for joining me. Thanks for hanging in there with the last video. That was crazy, but you know what? Sometimes that happens. So the next video that I'm going to be doing, like right after this, and I mentioned it last night, is the Shipwreck Beads pearl haul. I have another one coming in, but I wanted to get that video out to you as soon as possible so that you can see how crazy these pearls are. And there's another surprise in that unboxing that you may want to go to Shipwreck because you have a couple of days left to the end of their sale. So there you go. Thanks for joining me. Bye for now.